There, Gallagher?
Yes.
Hear me. All right. What's happening?
Well, we're just going to mute up until Carmela gets back on.
Hey, Bo! What are you doing?
Computer connected.
Bo!
Good morning to anyone who can hear me. This is my first time here, and I have a 9:30 work appointed hearing, and I'm not for sure if I should be in this call or not.
What's your name?
My name is Erica Smith.
Okay, and your property?
You're on the
Um,
docket, Ms. Smith. Once you hear your name called and the docket number, then you will give your testimony.
Okay, thank
There's
you. So I'll
12
just
other
mute it
people on this docket with
again.
you. That's correct.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you.
Happy Wednesday, everyone. Mr. Chairman, you can go ahead with the preamble.
Okay. So the Board of Building Standards and Appeals is now going into session in compliance with the notification requirements of Ohio's open meeting law and section 101.021 of the codified ordinances of Cleveland, Ohio, 1976. Notice of this meeting has been publicly posted. All boards and commissions under the purview of the City Planning Department conducts its meeting according to Robert's Rules of Order. Actions during the meeting will be taken by voice vote. Abstentions from any vote due to a conflict of interest should be stated for the record prior to the taking of any vote. In order to ensure that everyone participating in the meeting has the opportunity to be heard, we ask that you use the raise hand feature before asking a question or making a comment. The raise hand feature can be found in the participants panel on the desktop and mobile version and activated by clicking the hand icon. Please wait for the chair or facilitator to recognize you, and be sure to select unmute and unannounce yourself before you speak and announce yourself, okay? When finished speaking, please lower your hand by clicking on the raise hand icon again and mute your microphone. We will also be utilizing the chat feature to communicate with participants. The chat feature can be activated by clicking the chat button located on the bottom of the WebEx screen. Call-in users can unmute by using *6. All meeting activity is being recorded by way of the WebEx platform. These proceedings are also being live streamed by way of YouTube. All requests to speak on a particular matter by way of our website and email have been considered. We have also received emails from those who have provided written comment on a particular matter. Ms. Aston, are you with us?
I am, Mr. Chairman. Thank you. Do you want to call the roll first, or do you want me to go first?
We'll call the roll.
Mr. Maskey,
Here.
Mr. Bradley,
Here.
Mr. Dink,
Here.
Mr. Gallagher.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Patricia McGinty Aston for the City of Cleveland Law Department, 0070689. If this, as we do each time, if we could have independent verification that it's being live streamed, Mr. Chairman?
And it is being live streamed. This is Maurice
Thank you.
Rowlands.
Thank you. And Mr. Chairman, as we do each time pursuant to since the beginning of the pandemic, pursuant to the rules posted in the Ohio Supreme Court website originally, the city does object to the use of the chat function, because if we were in room 514 in live person hearings as per usual practice, the use of the chat would not be allowable. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Okay, so we will call our first case. And the first docket is A8621-10423/27 Clifton Boulevard.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I ask that we move to docket 9021, Matthew Green.
Yes. Let's take a look here. Okay, so we're going to move to docket 9021-2411 Castle Avenue.
Application and fees are in order. Notice of violation is interior exterior maintenance. Right. It's gonna be a little bit further down.
Preliminarily, Mr. Chairman, to Carmela, Mr. Chairman called Castle Avenue instead of Saywell. Are we doing Castle or Saywell? I'm sorry. I
We're doing
apologize.
Saywell, 9021.
Very sorry on that. That is 12437 Saywell Avenue. 809021. That is correct.
Application and fees are in order. Notice of violation is exterior maintenance, rental registration, and unauthorized illegal use dated September 17, 2021. Appeal statement received October 13, 2021, requesting for time to abate the violation. Present for the hearing, Tom Vanover, Building and Housing, Patricia Ashton Law. With the appellant for docket 9021, please state your name for the record. Mr. Matthews, state your name for the record. You have to speak into the mic over there so they can hear you. Go closer to the phone, Mr. Matthew. Right there, yes.
Okay, solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, so help you God. Mr. Matthew?
Are you able to hear him?
Cannot hear him. Oh, he's
One
muted. I think he's muted.
I can see him, Mr. Chairman. He still is muted. This is Patty.
Okay, she's working on him.
Yeah, I see Carmela back there now too.
You can leave your coat there. Just leave your coat there. I'm gonna have him come over to it right there, so he can, I'm not sure what's going on with the mic over there. Can you hear me?
Yes.
1 second. Sit here.
Okay,
We got time.
okay.
All right. State your name for the record.
Green Matthews Jr.
Okay, I solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, so help you God.
Yes, I do.
Okay,
Mr. Chairman, this is Patty preliminarily, if I may. Mr. Chairman, as indicated by Ms. Davis's write-up on this matter, there are 3 violation notices that were appealed to this board. The first one is an interior-exterior maintenance violation. The second is a rental registration violation. And the third is captioned as an illegal unauthorized use. Mr. Chairman, the first 2, the interior-exterior maintenance as well as the rental registration, are properly before this board. The third violation of illegal unauthorized use is only a zoning citation that this board by charter does not, of the city of Cleveland, section 76-6 does not have authority. It cites 32702C as in cat. I did receive an email from Ms. Davis that notifying me that number 16 on the interior-exterior maintenance does cite to zoning code for the parking of motor vehicles in the setback area. However, the city's position is The city is not objecting to the violation notice, interior, exterior maintenance zoning number 16, because the thrust of that entire notice is a maintenance notice properly before this board. And that goes to the maintenance at the property as it relates to, so the first two can be heard by this board, the maintenance as well as the rental registration. The third notice is clearly a zoning notice, Mr. Chairman. In fairness to the due process rights of appellant, he did timely appeal this matter. He unfortunately went to the wrong board. It should be before Board of Zoning Appeals, also housed in room 516. So the city would ask that this board transfer this timely appeal to the Board of Zoning Appeals so it could be properly heard for the appellant's due process rights. So whatever mechanism you would need to do, paperwork, taking it across
Yeah.
You can go back over to
in
that.
516. That's all we're asking, is that you don't have the authority, but just to transfer it to BOZA where the proper authority lies so that he can be heard there. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If you have any questions for me.
Okay, Ms. Ashton, so what we're doing here is we're going to hear his maintenance prior to sending anything back over to zoning. Is that correct?
You can hear the maintenance, you can hear the rental registration, but by charter of the city of Cleveland, you cannot hear the zoning. So we just ask that you send that notice to BOZA.
Okay, all right,
Thank you, sir.
that's what we'll do. Okay, so Mr. Matthew,
Yeah.
what is your plan then for the maintenance and for the rental registration?
Well, I'm working on the house, but like I'm 72 years old. I'm not working no job, so I get Social Security, and I'm trying to perform the duties to fix the outside and move the car and register for. We got to register for what?
You got a rental registration that you have to take care of with the city.
I never did that before.
Well, they're requiring it, so that's something that you're going to have to look into and get that taken care of.
Well, I understand. Okay, well, I need
Okay.
help doing with this, because I am a senior citizen and I used to do all the work, but I can't do it now.
Okay,
So I need some kind of organization to help me through this.
Okay.
Last year they gave me paint, so I painted some of the house up. I didn't
Okay.
finish.
all right. You had mentioned your age, so yes, you would be in a program, I guess, where they could help you. We have someone that does take care of that. So any ways to explain maybe on your time, how much time do you need to complete the abatement of your maintenance issues?
Well, the weather just broke, so I should be through at least by August.
Okay, that's your plan then on that. Let me get over and talk to Mr. Vanover and see what he has to say.
All right.
Mr. Chairman, we don't object to August, and we will refer him to the Department of Aging for assistance.
All right.
What about the rental agreement?
Well, he'll have to register it as a rental property, and in order to do so, he'll need to get a lead-safe certificate. But once he's, if the board can, if Ms. Davis can refer him to the Department of Aging, they will put him in contact with Inspector Shockley to
Okay.
help explain it and walk him through all the processes.
Okay. All right, so,
But, Mr. Chairman, so we wouldn't object to an August date, providing that the appellate agrees to work with the Department of Aging. We can put him in contact. We can't force, compliance. So we will do, if you remand it back to the Department of Building and Housing in August, we can do a status update to make sure that he is working with the Department of Aging, and therefore we can, determine from that point what to do next.
okay. All right, so I guess we'll just pick a September 1st date, which is 6 months, to abate the violations and to have your rental agreement in place and to work with the Department of Aging. And also, I guess, Carmella, we're going to send something over to the zoning board to handle the rest of this. So and at that time, then the property would be remanded back to the Department of Building and Housing for any further action. Motion so in order.
Chairman,
Yes.
to CBO Vanover. So this is a rental property. So they have programs to assist landlords in abatement violations. I don't want to give this appellant wrong information. Then he comes back to me upset because they don't have anything for him. So I want to clarify which program are you referring to?
Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman and Ms. Davis, I don't know what programs they have. I don't work for the Department of Aging. But what I know they can do is there may not be programs or money available, but what they can at least put him in contact with the inspector to help explain everything that needs to happen. So if nothing else, he'll get counsel from the inspector. I don't know what programs they have. That's why we have to send them to the Department of Aging.
Mr. Chairman, to the appellant, if the addresses all list the property, so Mr. Chairman, to the appellant, does he live at one of the units at the property?
What was that, Patty?
Does he live there?
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay, he says yes, so he lives
Okay.
there, so that even though he might have one of the units, that is still his home. So
Okay.
as Mr. Vanover stated, they should be able to weed through that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, so that motion is, does that clarify for you, Ms. Davis?
It does.
Okay, very
So
good.
what was the abatement day? Could you repeat that, please?
You want the, okay, the motion again? Okay, so we're going to give the appellant to September 1st, 2022 to abate the violations and that we're in charge of, which would be the interior, exterior maintenance and also the registration. And the property that, and to work with the aging of aging with Mr. Shockley. And this time the property is going to be remanded back to the Department of Housing for any further action. Motion is in order.
So moved.
And discussion, Mr. Chairman, and referral to the BOZA, the zoning. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Motion by Mr. Maschke.
Second.
Second by Mr. Denk.
Mr. Master?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mr. Dink?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Bradley?
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher?
Yes. Okay, you'll be notified in 2 weeks. Thank you.
Give me 1 second so I can remove the appellant from our.
Yes, sure, no problem.
All right, you're done.
Okay, thank you. Would you happen to have an extra calendar?
An extra calendar?
Yeah.
I don't.
All right, thank you. Well, you have a good day.
You too.
Thank you. So agent gonna call me? Or I'm gonna call them?
You can call them.
Oh, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, which case are we going to now?
I'm going to talk to Patty, to Carmella.
Oh, is Carmella working on,
We're done with that one. We may be going back to the top, or she may have someone else in there we need to do, so.
I'm presuming she's wiping down, so
Yeah,
give her a minute.
yeah.
If we give her a minute.
Yeah. Sure, I stepped away for a second. That's why I wanted to check. I wasn't missing anything.
Okay, sure.
I think she has another applicant in her office. So I'm not sure if she's going to go to that individual.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, we can take it from the top.
From the top. Okay, very good. All right, so we're opening docket A 8621 10423/27 Clifton Boulevard.
Application and fees are in order. This is a fire safety violation issued by the Division of Fire. Present for the hearing, Tom Vano, Building and Housing, Patricia Askin, Law. Is there any representative from Division of Fire here this morning?
Yes, Lieutenant Whitey.
And with the appellants for this docket, please state your name for the record.
Mr. Chairman, this is Patty to Ms. Davis. Carmela, did you receive any communication from either side after the initial filing? Because, Mr. Chairman, it wouldn't surprise me that nobody appears today. But if you want to go ahead and swear in Lieutenant Wyke, I'll do my preliminary stuff.
Okay, all right. Lieutenant Wyke, do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, so help you God?
Yes.
And the rest of the board needs to. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Preliminarily, Patricia McGinty Aston for the City of Cleveland Law Department on behalf of the Department of Public Safety Division of Fire. Lieutenant Wyke will be testifying to this fire violation notice, the history of what happened. Although no one is here, we are going to ask that you hear from fire, that you uphold the notice as properly issued upon completion, and that you deny any appeal, remand to the Department of Public Safety Division of Fire. But if I could, I'll do my preliminary service to Ms. Davis. So, Mr. Chairman, to Ms. Davis, did you receive any communication from the appellant, email, fax, phone call, voicemail, etc., regarding their non-appearance today on this matter?
Chairman, to Ms. Aston, I did just receive an email at 8:08 this morning from the appellant's attorney stating that the appellant no longer is at that property and they withdraw their appeal.
Okay, so they did withdraw it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That was what I was wondering, because I never got anything either. And if they were not going to withdraw, we were going to ask that you hear this. Thank you.
Okay, so being that they're withdrawing, then we have no action.
Right, they've dismissed their appeal to you. Thank
Okay.
you.
All right,
Wyke, I'll talk to you later about it, okay?
there we go. Okay, so we'll move on to the next docket. 89621 3938 East 71st Street.
Application and fees are in order. Notice of violation is condemnation of the main structure that was issued on April 30th, 2019. Appeal statement received October 19th, 2021, requesting time to abate the violations. Present for the hearing, Tom Vanover, Building and Housing, Patricia Ashton, Law, with the appellant for docket A 9621. Please state your name for the record. Mr. Thomas, are you there?
I see a Sam Thomas that's muted.
I just unmuted. Yeah, Attorney Sam Thomas for the petitioners.
Okay, Mr. Thomas, you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay, go ahead and let us know what the plans are.
The plans are the petitioners have had some issues with the architect who drew up the plans initially, among the owners, and then encountered further difficulties with the contractor. I learned they're still interested in retaining the property and rehabbing it, and would request a 6-month extension of time in order to do that.
Okay, Mr. Vanover.
Mr. Chairman, to the appellate, when did when did they take possession of the property?
Now that I am not sure of when they took possession of the property. I could look at my records. I wasn't involved in this from the very beginning. I was contacted after I entered with the appeal process.
Mr. Chairman, is your client Mastermind Capital Management?
That is correct.
Okay, because Mr. Chairman, there's a certificate of disclosure filed for this property for a transfer to Mission Veterans LLC. Are they in the Mr. Chairman of the appellate? Are they in the process of selling this property?
Not that I'm aware of. No.
So our records show that on February 3rd, there was a certificate of disclosure requested to sell this property. Basically, it's a certificate of disclosure in preparation of selling the property. The initial certificate of disclosure that was April 8th of 2021 is when the certificate of disclosure was issued for Mastermind Capital, rather. What does it say here? No, it's Mastermind Capital. That was done in April of 2021. The property was bought condemned. It appears that during the time that this purchase was taking place, the city of Cleveland had placed this on the demo list. We had contracted the demolition, and that was put on hold because of this transfer in 2021. We are now on the third month of 2022, and I understand that there's been delays, but the property was bought condemned. So I'm not sure what the holdup is. And I'm concerned about this pending transfer.
Sorry, Tom. Based upon Mr. Vanover's testimony and the appeal before this board, which was made in October, we would ask that you deny the time. If the appellant entity truly is going to be correcting it, they could still get a plan and submit, but they've had, as Mr. Vanover has stated, they've had 5 months, and it appears that their own communication within internally is at issue, and they have made indications to the city through the certificate of disclosure filing that they may not have told their attorney, which happens, but they've made indications to the city that they're going to sell this if they haven't already. So we would ask that you deny the appeal and remand to Building and Housing. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Thomas, do you have any comment?
Understood. I understand that they do have the option to develop the plan and submit it to Building and Housing. That's all I have to respond. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So, the violations do exist. So it was properly issued, and the request for more time is denied, and that we'll ask that the property be remanded back to the Department of Building and Housing for any further action. Motion so in order.
So move. Second.
Okay, moved by Mr. Bradley, second by Mr. Mashpee.
Mr. Mashpee?
Yes. Thank you very much.
Bradley? Mr. Bradley?
Yes.
Mr. Dink?
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher?
Yes. Okay, be notified in 2 weeks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so the next docket, A100 213742 Fulton Road.
Application and fees are in order. Notice of violation is interior-exterior maintenance. Issued September 7, 2021. Appeal statement received October 6, 2021. Requesting for time to abate the violations. Present for the hearing, Tom Vanover, Building and Housing. Patricia Ashton Law. With the appellant for docket A 121. Please state your name for the record.
I believe that this is mine, Mr. Chairman. It's Attorney Eric Hale, and I'm filling in for Mr. Jim Petropoulos.
Okay. Solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, so help you God.
I do. We also should have a Mr. Amir on the line as well.
Yes, I'm on the phone.
And this is the one, correct, Mr. Amir? That's your address,
Yep.
right?
Yeah, 3742 Mayfield Road. 3742 Fulton Road.
That is correct. Solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, so help you God.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Go ahead and let us know what the plans are.
We just had an issue with an eviction and dealing with some real bad tenants that was inside the location. We got new tenants in there now, and they are working on the violations. That was the total agreement with them and with the old owners as well. So we're just in the process of moving forward, and some of the stuff has been done already.
If I may, or Mr. Chair, I'll summarize that.
This is Patty. Eric, if I can preliminarily, since you jumped in, I didn't get to do my preliminary. Mr. Chairman, Mr. Petropoulos actually objected to the notice, and I wanted to clarify if appellant was continuing with that objection and have Mr. Vanover testify, though, thank you, to those photos that were just up. If they're going to have their objections, we have the administrative burden to demonstrate that the violations exist. So Mr. Vanover would testify to the maintenance violations of the cited in the notice of repair loose, broken, or missing ceiling and floor tiles, repair roof leaks, repair damaged fuel pumps, which the photos will show for themselves, but I can have Mr. Vanover testify to those violations if appellant is still going to maintain their objections. Eric, I would ask you, are you maintaining those objections?
If I may, as a preliminary matter, thank you for jumping in. The issue here that we're looking for is basically an additional 90 days to complete the repair.
So you're just asking for time not to object to the notice, to the violations?
If there's a possibility of that being denied, then obviously we would want to pursue the objection.
You can't have it both ways. You have to decide.
Acknowledging that can't have it both ways, right?
Yeah. So, Mr. Chairman, if Mr. Vanover can testify to the violations preliminarily, and they have the absolute right to object to it. So we have to put it forth. So it's easier just to have us testify to it. The photographs will be, yes, the photographs will be clear. So, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Vanover.
Thank you.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, as Ms. Aston stated, the photos clearly identify, damage to the pump, leaking roof inside, floor tile, loose, broken, creating a dangerous situation. This is a public place. So I want to be clear that under the City of Cleveland codified ordinances, it is the owner that is responsible for the maintenance of the property that they own. They cannot assign that to their tenant. I'm a little concerned that, testimony has shown that, has stated that the tenants are already working on it and that they were assigned that responsibility. Under the City of Cleveland codified ordinances, you cannot assign that responsibility to a tenant. So the owner has to take responsibility, and I haven't heard that yet. So I would be, but the violations clearly exist. You can, unless or at least existed at the time that the violation notice was issued. So we would ask that you find that the violation notice was properly issued.
Okay, that's easy enough. We can do that. So I want to hear again from Attorney Allen and find out if you're going to proceed with fixing this.
Absolutely, Mr. Chairman. Are we proceeding to the second part here before I go forward? I apologize. I just want to make sure that we're following the form that I need to.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, does the board find that the violation notice was properly issued and that the violations exist?
We do. The
Okay.
violations exist. The pictures show it. Absolutely. I don't think there's any
All right,
question.
now we can move on to more time if the appellate wishes.
Okay. So you're asking for 90 days to complete all the violations?
That's correct. At the end of the day, that's what he's looking for.
Okay. All right.
There's not an issue with performing the repairs. We want to make the testimony, I think, was a little premature and mischaracterized in that sense. There was a tenant in this property that we were having a problem trying to get them out. And now that that's been resolved, basically some of this stuff, we just need good weather and some time to complete them. So thank you.
Okay. As Mr. Vanover has said, that it is up to the owner to take care of the violations. So we'll go ahead and we'll move that they were properly issued, and we'll give you to June 1st, 2022 to abate the violations. Motion so in order.
So move.
Motion by Mr. Bradley.
Second.
Okay, second by Mr. Dank.
Mr.
Call the roll.
Maskey,
Yes.
Mr. Bradley,
Yes.
Mr. Dink,
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher.
Yes. Okay, you'll be notified in 2 weeks. Thank you.
Thank you. And if I can, what was the date on it? June 1st?
Yes.
Thank you. Amir, we can log off now. Thank you.
Yes, you can.
Appreciate it.
Okay. Docket 101-21-11204 Lorraine Avenue.
Application and fees are in order. Notice of violation is interior and exterior maintenance. Issued September 20th, 2021. Appeal statement received October 20th, 2021, requesting for more time to abate the violations. Present for the hearing, Tom Vanover, Building and Housing, Patricia Ashton Law. With the appellant for docket 101-21, please state your name for the record.
Aziz Sayed.
Okay. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead and let
Mr.
us.
Chairman, preliminarily, a smoke detector is cited on this notice, so for your.
Okay.
Thank you.
Smoke and probably carbon, right? Okay, so we'll address those issues. Go ahead and let us know what your plans are.
Your Honor, my tenant, I gave her a 30-day notice in end of August, and I just got the eviction from Honorable Judge Mona Scott Smith, and the tenant's still occupying the unit, and she does not allow anybody to access her unit. And every time we go there with my people to fix things, she will say, we have COVID, you are not allowed, and this and that. So she will be out by the sheriff on the 9th of March. And I need 90 days to go take care of all those issues, the violations.
Okay, 90 days, you feel you can complete it. Let's hear from.
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Van.
Yes, sir. That's all I need. And
Okay.
we all
Mr.
good.
Van. Mr. Vanover.
Mr. Chairman, because of the smoke detector issue, we object to the 90 days, at least on that matter. It does appear that all of the violations listed are interior, so
That's
they
caused by
would need
the,
access to the inside. But
Okay,
when is the eviction? Mr. Chairman, to the public, when is the eviction date?
March 9th.
eviction was happened on February 17th, and her move out date is set by the court on March 3rd, which is tomorrow. And she's supposed to, the sheriffs are supposed to go to her place on the 9th.
To make
And
sure
then,
she's
Mr.
gone.
Chairman, the expectation is that once she moves out, the unit will be unoccupied until all the violations are corrected?
Yes, correct.
Okay,
So,
so that'll
Mr.
take care of the
Chairman,
smoke detector, right?
correct, because it appears there's a barber shop on the first floor?
Yes, on the first floor, there's a barber shop downstairs.
Okay, so this is a mixed-use building, so it's important to protect both the upstairs and downstairs tenants. So we would ask that we don't object to more time, but our objection is based on the testimony that the unit will remain unoccupied until it's corrected.
Okay, we'll put that in the form of a motion, and that the smoke detector be replaced upon her exiting the unit. So you can get that done first. So.
Sir, she's not giving me the access to anybody inside the house.
Right. We're saying when she's gone, we.
Oh, not yet, not yet. Tomorrow.
I know. I'm saying when she's gone, not yet. But when she's gone out of there by March 9th, we'd like you to first order of business, take care of the smoke.
I'll take care of the smoke detector like
Beautiful.
this.
Okay.
Yes,
So
sir.
that's a part of the motion, and that we will give you until you need 90 days?
Yes, sir.
June
And
1st.
Do I call the building inspector to come and re-inspect the place, and then so I can re-rent the apartment?
Do you have the issue of the, let's see, that you have from the violations? Do you have that, a copy of that? I don't think it's a problem.
It's just a general maintenance issues, like the carpet needs to be fixed, the flooring needs to be fixed. It's all caused by the tenant. That's my understanding. When she moved in.
Mr. Chairman, if Mr. Vanover can answer his question about reinspection, I think he was saying an answer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go
Mr.
ahead.
Chairman, on your violation notice, your inspector's name and email address are both listed. You can reach out to them and show them all the show them progress, and then ultimately they will close the violation notice, which will allow you to reoccupy the apartment.
Thank you so much, sir.
Okay, so you have until June 1st, that's 90 days, 2022, to abate the violations, and also that the smoke detector be done first off as soon as the tenant leaves, and that it is not rented out until all the violations have been taken care of. Motion so in order.
Move.
Motion by Mr. Bradley,
Second.
second by Mr. Maskey.
Mr. Maskey,
Yes.
Mr. Bradley,
Yes.
Mr. D,
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher.
Yes.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, you're welcome. You'll be notified in 2 weeks.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so let's see. We got docket 8921 2411 Castle Avenue.
Application and fees are in order. Notice of violation is exterior maintenance. Issued on August 26, 2021. Appeal statement received October 13, 2021, requesting for time to abate the violations. Present for the hearing, Tom Vanover, Building and Housing. Patricia Ashton Law. Miss Sherry Lynn. Hit *6. And present for the hearing. Please state your name for the record.
Sherry Lynn Powell.
Okay, Solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Okay, go ahead and let us know what your plans are.
I'm gonna try to do it. I need about 90 days because of weather, COVID. We were all sick with it. We started doing it.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, this is Patty. To the appellant, Ms. Powell, do you live at this property?
Yes, I do, ma'am.
Okay, Mr. Vanover.
Mr. Chairman, that was my question as well. So this owner occupied, it appears that, Ms. Powell, Mr. Chairman, to the appellant, it appears that your permit is ready to pick up. It just needs to get paid for. So you should have received an email from the Department of Building and Housing on next steps to pay for that permit. So I encourage you to do that. Looking at the violation notices, there's a lot of, it's primarily exterior. There are some roof issues. Obviously the high grass and weeds are no longer a problem. There's some downspouts. Mr. Chairman, given the fact that there's a permit on this and the works appear, and it's owner occupied, we don't object to more time. We won't object to 180 days to make the corrections.
Very good. Okay, so we're going to give you till September 1st, 2022 to abate all the violations. You'll be in the good weather and whatever. So motion so in order. Yes, go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, Ms. Powell, you can, as you work along, you'll get an inspector for your permit as well as you have the inspector for the violation notice. Maintain contact with the inspectors along the way. And if you get to that date and you're almost done and you need more time, they can extend it, providing work is provided. And just a piece of information, don't let anybody work on your house without a permit in their name.
Thank you.
Okay, motion is in order. Move. Motion by Mr. Bradley.
Second.
Second by Mr. Denk.
Mr. Maskey,
Yes.
Mr. Bradley,
Yes.
Mr. Dink,
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher.
Yes.
Okay, give me a few minutes. I can assist. Mr.
Okay,
Keller.
you're fine. You'll get notification within 2 weeks. Okay.
Thank you.
You have to, have your son check his email.
Right. You know, I just texted him and he said he never got nothing.
Okay, well, Building and Housing just stated as well that
Okay, Mr. Rulon, we have completed 9021.
Sorry, we on docket 9721.
Yes. Opening docket A 9721, 4461 East 143rd Street.
Application and fees are in order. Notice of violation is interior and exterior maintenance. Issued September 17, 2021. Appeal statement received October 7, 2021, requesting for time to abate the violations. Present for the hearing, Tom Vanover, Building and Housing. Patricia Ashton Law. Would the appellant for 9721 please state your name for the record?
Erica Smith.
Okay, Ms. Smith, do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Okay, go ahead and let us know.
Mr.
what
Chairman,
your-
preliminarily apologize. It does list carbon monoxide. I presume there may be smoke. I didn't see this. My eyes don't find the smoke, but the very last violation is a carbon monoxide. Thank you.
Okay,
Carbon monoxide and smoke detectors were installed in the house, as well as an exterminator company coming out for the rodent problem, which was due to the tenant. Me and my brother brought the property with a tenant already in it, which was actually abusing the system. These were rollover violations that we were unaware of because it was a quick deed and we are new to this. We did attempt to make several attempts to fix the violations. When we got the property, the tenant had moved in of June of 2020, and when we acquired the property in November of 2020, she still had no furnace, no heat, no hot water. So we did install all of those things without any funds being paid by the tenant. And then at that point, the tenant was just very very complacent and irate, and we had to get several entry letters to get into the property to fix certain violations, and we had to end up getting a lawyer. We went to court. The judge sided with us. So once she moved, and her due date out is March 8th of this month, we will be able to fix the violation if we just need time. The one violation that we would need major time on is the foundation. And we have an estimate. Well, we actually have 3 estimates, and the cheapest one being $12,000 for the foundation on the left side of the house. But carbon monoxide detectors were installed. Smoke detectors were installed. We fixed the gas leak from the pipes and some other things that we were able to do before she became complacent.
Mr. Chairman, to the appellant, when did you take possession of the property?
This
2020?
is 2022. Well, we quick deeded it in November of 2020.
Okay, and
the deed didn't go through until like the beginning of 2021 because everything was backdated from COVID.
No, it's effective upon execution. It may not have been recorded, but it was effective upon execution.
Exactly. But
ma'am, if I may, that's not my issue. You gave testimony just now that when you took the property, your entity took the property, that you had to replace a furnace and hot water tank or something you said?
Yes, and that was done at the end of January once the tenant allowed us into the property. She wouldn't allow us into the
January of this year or January of last year?
January of 2021.
Okay, and did you pull permits for that, ma'am? Did you get a contractor to pull permits for that?
I would have to ask my brother. I'm just speaking on behalf of the company.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make it easy. I believe Mr. Vanover will testify that no permits were acquired on that for that regulated work that clearly is safety issues and requires regulated work that Mr. Vanover will testify to. And if such the case, as an entity LLC owner, they will be required to have a contractor, as Mr. Vanover will also testify to, and we would include in our request for any time that be done immediately if such work has already been done. And so I will defer to Mr. Vanover. Thank you.
Mr. Vanover.
I would defer to Mr. Vanover.
Yeah, he probably figured
there he
you
is.
handled
He's
it,
muted.
so-
Tom, you're muted.
All
I
right,
don't know if he had stepped away.
Mr. Vanover. Maybe
He's still muted.
I apologize, I was
There you
muted.
go.
Yeah, no problem.
So to restate what's been stated, yes, Mr. Chairman of the appellate, the encouraging part is that you're taking the initiative and putting funds and repairing the property. However, when the decision was made to purchase this as an LLC, it became a corporation, and that will require contractors to pull all of your permits. You can't pull a homeowner's permit if you are a corporation. So That would include permits for the furnace and the hot water tank that were already completed, as well as any other exterior alterations or changes. So much of the work that is involved in this maintenance notice is just maintenance, but the foundation work will require a permit, as well as I'm looking at through the violation notice now. The exterior stairs, if those are not, those are repaired. So we don't object to more time, understanding the tenant situation and the willingness to put money into the property. But understand that you will be required to have permits, and those permits will need to be pulled by a registered contractor in the city.
Understood, and I do appreciate it. Like I said again, this is new to us. We just came across a good deal, and we already had a tenant in there. And as far as the foundation work, I do have a licensed and bonded contractor who gave me the estimates, and he's willing to do the work once the weather breaks, because he said he didn't want to dig up the dirt or whatever because it was too cold. And I don't know nothing about that, but that's just what he said. It would have to be springtime or like once the
Mr.
weather
Chairman,
breaks.
that all makes sense. Make sure that you see the permit, that you have a copy of the permit in your hand before you pay him anything.
Okay.
Just because that's what protects you. But we don't object to more time, Mr. Chairman, but limited time, and with the understanding that the property will remain unoccupied until the work is corrected.
So, okay, so this is my thing, because so since we invested in this property and it didn't go as we planned, will me or my brother not be able to move in there to cut costs from where we are currently residing at to pay for these repairs? So basically, can it be owner occupied, like while we're making the repairs? Because currently my mortgage, I live in Bedford Heights, my mortgage is, my rent is $1,400. So we trying to decide who gonna move out their house and move down there to cut expenses to be able to foot this bill. Because we didn't know this, like we quick deeded it, and after we spoke to a lawyer, because we had to get a lawyer for the whole eviction process, he said that if we would have went through a proper title company, we would have knew about the violations and the back taxes and things to that nature.
Okay. Go ahead.
That is accurate. So there are, my recommendation is going to be two things. Understand that this is a rental property, and even, Mr. Chairman, to the appellant, even if you and your brother move into the property, it remains a rental property because you don't own it. It is owned by a LLC that may very well just be you and your brother, but that's still an LLC. So I would ask that it remain unoccupied until the inspector makes the determination that the smoke detectors and carbon monoxide detectors are in, that the furnace and the hot water tank have been inspected and approved. So many of these, you can move in with many of these, Mr. Chairman, to the appellate. Many of these violations you can make while you're in there, while it's occupied, but the safety ones have to be corrected to the inspector's satisfaction.
Okay, so can I ask a question? Can
Go
we
ahead.
set up a date for an inspector to come out? Because like I said, I'm new to this, but like she didn't have any heat or anything. And so the gas company came out and cut the gas back on and her hot water tank. So I don't believe it's any red flags to that nature, because after we installed it, they came out and they cut her gas and her hot water on, and we installed carbon monoxide detectors at every entryway in their bedrooms and smoke detectors in the foyer, the kitchen, bedrooms, hallway, and in the basement.
Okay, you're still going to need the inspector to inspect it. You're going to need to call him, just like Mr. Vanover said. Once he approves all that, it sounds like for the rest of it, you could, if he says that it's all good, he could allow for you to live there while you're making the other, taking care of the
Yeah.
violations that exist that
Mr.
might not be possible. So you need to do
So
that.
would that be an HVAC inspector, HVAC?
So, Mr. Chairman, if I can clear it up to the appellant, you will be required to pull a permit, have a contractor pull a permit for the furnace. You said you installed a new furnace, is that accurate?
So they repaired the furnace that was there and they installed a new hot water tank.
Okay, so Mr. Chairman, to the appellant, the repair of the furnace does not require a permit. However, the installation of the hot water tank does. So you'll be required to pull a permit for the hot water tank, and with that permit, the inspector will come and inspect it. As well as, and then Kimberly Lanham is the inspector on your violation notice. You will call her and she will do the inspections of everything else.
Okay.
To verify that everything, as you're completing work. So it's not a third-party home inspector that you're calling. You're going to call Ms. Lanham to inspect as you correct your violations, which if you've done the smoke detectors and the carbon monoxide detectors, you should call her immediately to have her come out and look at them and give her the plan for how you're going to correct everything else. Once you pull the permit for the foundation, then you will also get a permit, and that comes with all the free inspections you need.
Okay.
Okay.
It sounds
Okay,
great. I
now we're
thank
looking-
you guys so much for all this information that you was able to provide for me today.
All right, we have to talk about time necessary to complete the rest of the violations. How much time do you think you need?
Well, Mr. Chairman,
Truthfully,
based on
with the foundation being $12,000, as much as you guys are willing to give, like with the pandemic and everything,
All right, let's go back.
We
to
just
Mr.
didn't know what
Bennett.
we were signing up for. Like, we just thought this was gonna be easy breezy, and it's just been a hellhole for real.
Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead, Mr. Mansky.
Once the appellant pulls the necessary permits, the time on the permits takes over to do the work.
Okay, well, that's the
we
hot water
we
tank.
should just pick an end date to get this work completed by.
You got it. Mr. Vanover.
Mr. Chairman, I concur.
Okay. All right, so an end date. It's going to be a little bit before they can get in there and do that. So I don't know if we're looking at 6 months, or does that sound like it makes sense to do the?
Mr. Chairman, I would recommend September 1st.
Okay.
That way we make sure the work gets completed before we get back into bad weather.
Okay, sounds good. All right, so you're going to need to get your contractor to pull the permits that are necessary and to get with the inspector. That will be done when you get your permits. So that'll take care of that. And we'll give you to September 1st to 2022 to complete all violations. Motion?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Maskey. Second by Mr. Bradley.
Mr. Maskey,
Yes.
Mr. Bradley,
Yes.
Mr. Dank,
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher.
Yes. Okay, you'll be notified within 2 weeks.
Okay, so just to reiterate before you guys get off the phone, I appreciate everyone's help. I'm gonna call the inspector so she can look at the carbon monoxide detectors and the smoke detectors. Then I'm gonna have my contractor pull all of the permits, and I have until September 1st, 2022 to have everything complete.
That sounds correct.
Thank you so much, guys. Have a great day. Everyone stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Okay, next docket, A9821. 3290. Okay, 3296 West 127th Street. Go ahead, Carmelo.
Application and fees are in order. Notice of violation is interior and exterior maintenance. Issued September 15, 2021. Appeal statement received October 10, 2021, requesting for time to abate the violation. Present for the hearing, Tom Vanover, Building and Housing, Patricia Ashton Law. With the appellant for docket 9821, please state your name for the record. see.
Mr. Chairman, this is Patty. I don't see a Thomas Wren, R-E-N, listed, who is listed on the appeal statement. So if you want to swear in Mr. Vanover, I'll do my preliminary.
Okay. Ms. Davis, you're not seeing anyone?
Now checking through my emails to make sure I didn't miss anything.
Yeah, and if you swear in Mr. Vanover, then I'll do my preliminary and then ask her what she
Okay.
finds.
All
Thank you,
right.
sir.
Mr. Vanover? Yeah, go ahead. Solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, so help you God.
I do.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Preliminarily, to Ms. Davis, this appears to be an LLC that applied with the appeal statement, who lists a signature and a name, printed name of a Thomas, Thomas Wren, R-E-N. So, Mr. Chairman, to Ms. Davis, did you receive any communication regarding this matter from any individual or person or entity, email address, phone call, voicemail, or fax regarding this matter for their non-appearance today, requesting any continuance?
Chairman, to Ms. Ashton, no.
And thank you, Ms. Davis. And Mr. Chairman, to Ms. Davis, did the notice of today's public hearing get returned to the board's file for any reason whatsoever?
For Ms. Ashton, no.
Thank you, Ms. Davis. Mr. Chairman, the appellant having apparently been properly notified of today's public WebEx hearing and not having contacted the board or the board secretary, Ms. Davis, it appears that this board does have given the proper notice and opportunity to be heard to the appellant West Bearwell LLC, and notice having not been returned. And so this board can proceed, and if they, should contact the board secretary, you deal with it as you normally would by reopening the docket before adoption. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, we'll hear from Mr. Vanover on the property.
So, Mr. Chairman, this is, as Ms. Aston stated, this is an LLC that purchased this property or transferred this property to them. And it was transferred from an LLC in the last transfer. So this is it's a single-family dwelling professional real estate rental company as an LLC. So we would ask that you deny any more time, remand it back to the Department of Building and Housing for further action.
Okay, any comments from the board members on the remand?
I concur with the city, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Hearing no other comments, find that the violations were properly issued and request the request for any time that is denied and the property is remanded back to the Department of Building and Housing for any further action. Motion is in order.
So moved.
Second. Okay, motion by Mr. Maskey, second by Mr. Bradley.
Mr. Maskey,
Yes.
Mr. Bradley,
Yes.
Mr. Dink,
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher.
Yes. Okay, we'll move on to the next docket. Docket A9921, 3118 Mapledale Avenue.
Application and fees are in order. Notice of violation is exterior maintenance. Issued on September 15th, 2021. Appeal statement received October 4th, 2021. Requesting for time to abate the violations. Present for the hearing, Tom Vanover, Building and Housing. Patricia Aston Law. With the appellant for docket 102-21. Please state your name for the record.
Fred Molnar.
Okay, Mr. Molnar, solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay, go ahead and let us know what your plans are.
My plans are to correct all these violations. I did, at the end of last year, I did have a roofer. He got backed up with work and was unable to do the roofing part of it. But I have him coming in as soon as the weather breaks. I had two other companies that backed out on me as far as the gutters and the siding. So I am going to get someone to do that. The painting, I do plan on doing most of that, if not all of it myself, but most of it myself. I just need time, and it comes down to my time and money is finding people that are responsible enough to do the work, not just anyone handyman somewhere. But I do plan on getting all of these things fixed.
Do you live in the property?
Yes, I do, sir.
Okay. All right. Let's go to Mr. Vanover.
So, Mr. Chairman, we don't object to more time because of the conditions raised, as well as, it is owner occupied. But Mr. Chairman of the appellate, how long have you lived in this house?
How long have I lived there?
Yes. How long have you owned the property?
I'm trying to think, because it was my family's home. My mother and father owned it, and it was transferred. It's been a few years. It's been a while.
All right. So, Mr. Chairman, the concern is it looks like that there's some, although not specifically cited as a hazardous condition, it appears that there's some pretty substantial issues with the porch. So we don't object to more time, but I think that we need to limit the time at minimum for the structural repairs and the safety issues, and then grant extended time, longer time for painting and more cosmetic issues.
Okay. So you'd like to see that canopy addressed first, and for the structural, right?
Correct. And Mr. Chairman, one more question to the appellate. This is a two-family home?
Yes, it is.
Is the second unit occupied?
No, it isn't.
All right. So, as Mr. Chairman of the appellate, as such, you will have to register the property because it's a two-family. However, there is an affidavit that you can file stating that you live in one of the units and the other one is unoccupied. So the fees will be waived, but you will still have to register it because it is a rental property by definition, because it's more than one, because it's not a single-family home.
Okay.
You basically you register it and then sign the paper saying that you live there and the other one's empty, and you don't have to pay any fees. But it still requires it to be registered, and you can speak with your inspector, Inspector Barisic, and he can explain that to you further.
Okay, what I need to do to register that?
Correct.
Okay.
Okay. So we could give, let's see. Yeah, I mean, the work on that canopy on the porch can be done actually at any time because it's structural. So it's really not sort of a weather issue per se, but it's something that probably needs attention soon. So we'd say 60 days to abate any of the structural problems that exist. And just in case there are some issues here early on with some, I don't think the weather's going to be that bad, but so anyways, till May 2nd and until September 1st to complete painting and roof and everything else to the property. And you have to register also as to what Mr. Vanover talked about being a rental property or having that a two-family property. But okay, is any other questions?
Mr. Chairman, what was the first abatement that was May 1st for
Yeah.
what to be completed?
May 2nd, to do any of the structural things that need to be done. There's some work on the canopy over the porch that looks like it needs attention. And we want to get that taken care of sooner. And then to September 1st to complete the rest of the violations.
Is the technical term roof assembly, is that correct, Mr. Vanover?
That would be
Roofing
correct.
system?
That would be correct.
Okay. And you said September 1st, 2022
Right.
to abate everything else?
Right, motion is in order. So move. Okay, motion by Mr. Bradley.
Second.
Okay, second by Mr. Dank.
Mr. Maskey,
Yes.
Mr. Bradley,
Yes.
Mr. Dink,
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher.
Yes. Okay, you'll be notified in 2 weeks. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, docket A10221 4098 East 67th Street.
Application and fees are in order. Notice of violation is interior and exterior maintenance and no permit issued on September 20th, 2021. Appeal statement received October 21st, 2021, requesting for time to abate the violations. Present for the hearing, Tom Vanover, Building and Housing. Patricia Ashton Law. With the appellant for docket 10221, please state your name for the record.
Lena Bolden.
The last name again?
Bolden, Bolden.
Okay,
I manage the property on 4098.
okay.
Mr. Chairman, do we have a letter of authority on that? The appeal was made by the owner, and I don't have and maybe Ms. Davis received that. But I don't have any letter of authority granting permission to this person to do so. If you're going to hear that, I would ask that you get that before adoption. Thank
Well,
you.
we'll find out. Okay, we'll find out if she has it. Does anyone know, do you have a letter, Ms. Bolden?
I do not. I wasn't
Okay.
aware that I needed a letter.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and hear the case, but you're gonna need one in order to proceed, actually. But I think we can still hear the case and tell you what we feel here. There's gonna be the proper determination, and then you really can't move forward until we get one in the office. You have to send it up with Ms. Davis.
Okay.
Okay, solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, so help you God?
I do.
I do.
Okay, go ahead and move forward with what the plans are gonna be to abate the violations.
So the permits were pulled for the electrical, plumbing, structural. I've been in communication with Rhonda Darrett, the inspector. The electrical should be closed and electrical permit should be closed by Mr. Bicote. And then the plumbing should have been closed by Mr. Bicote. And the electrical was recently closed by Mr. Mazzoa. All the cosmetic things that you see here in the photos have been corrected and taken care of. But when I was talking to Ms. Darrett, she said that I had to close the electrical and the plumbing before she would come out and inspect it. So that's what I'll be doing. Actually, today I'll be leaving her a message to see if she can come out and close these violations.
Okay, Mr. Vanover?
So bear with me, I'm looking up the,
Permits.
all
The
right.
reason I requested more time is because there is some structural work that needs to happen in the basement as a joist where the plumbing was rerouted. I think previously when we purchased the house, they cut out a joist for the plumbing to be ran through. Since then, the plumbing has been corrected. We're just replacing the joist at this time, which is a 2x8, maybe by 10-foot area that just needs to be replaced.
Okay.
So, Mr. Chairman, yeah, it does appear that there's both the plumbing permit and the electrical permit have been issued and subsequently inspected and closed. There's an open building permit that I'm struggling to get my computer to respond. So, which I believe would covers the rest of the structural issues. So we don't object to more time, with the understanding that there are permits pulled and communication with the inspector for ongoing. And
all right, how much time, Ms. Bolden, do you think you need to close everything out?
I don't think I'm going to need this much time, but I was just asking for 90 days, just in case I run into some issues with, the structural. So I was hoping for at least 90 days if possible.
Okay, and I don't think that's a problem, but we're also going to need that letter in to Ms. Davis from the owner giving you permission to do this, so that takes care of everything. Obviously, they've been probably pulling these, I'm thinking, the permits. But anyways, you can do that. Is that correct? We asked that you do that, have it sent in.
Where would I get this letter from? Or is this something that I would, that he would have to type up, or like a power of attorney kind of thing?
Ms. Davis, what do you need on that?
Yeah, it would just be a notarized letter authorizing you to represent him today.
Okay?
Not a problem.
Okay, very good. All right, so we will give you to June 1st, 2022 to abate the rest of the violations. Motion so in order. Move. Okay, motion by Mr. Bradley.
Second.
Second by Mr. Maskey.
Mr. Maskey,
Yes.
Mr. Bradley,
Yes.
Mr. Dink,
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher.
Yes. You'll be notified in 2 weeks. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day, everyone.
Okay. Approval of resolutions. A 7221, A 8521, A 8721, A 8821, A 9121, A 9221, A 9521, A 15621, A 822, A 1522. Motion.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Maskey, second by Mr. Bradley.
Mr. Maskey,
Yes.
Mr. Bradley,
Yes.
Mr. Dink,
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher.
Yes. I have the approval of the minutes for February 16, 2022. Are there any additions or corrections?
No.
Motion?
So move.
Motion by Mr. Bradley,
Second.
second by Mr. Dink.
Mr. Maskey,
Yes.
Mr. Bradley,
Yes.
Mr. Dink,
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher.
Yes. Okay, is there any other further business before us?
No.
Hearing none, we declare that it is now over. Thank you.
Have a good week,
Thank you,
guys.
everyone.
Okay.
Have a good week.
Thank you.
Hey, Dennis.